In this video, I'll be buying LEAP options that I believe will be printing for 2026. I selected stocks that I see opportunities in. This is a very urgent and important video because I'm going to be showing you 3 stocks that I am buying LEAP options right now. It's extremely important because these LEAP options, I believe, are going to be printing money in 2026. So if you're short on time, by the way, the 20-second summary for this video is that I'm going to be buying a LEAP option that's 1 year out. I'm going to be focusing on buying it on a stock that is going to be very profitable. And the third thing I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to be focusing on the other 2 plays are going to be deep in the money options, where that gives me very high dollar for dollar return. I'll be explaining how Delta really benefits a LEAP option and why you might want to go deep in the money LEAP options. So I'll go over some live examples of stocks that have pulled back massively. I'm going to be looking at opportunities, SoFi being one of them. So let's not waste any time. Let's understand what LEAP options are, and let's finally get into the 3 stocks that I'm going to be using LEAP options on. Here's why LEAP options are so powerful. When an option is deep in the money with a high delta, it stops acting like a lottery ticket and starts behaving basically like the stock itself. You get nearly the same price movement, but at a massive discount because a deep in the money LEAP option might only cost you 30% of the shares. And because you're buying so much time, the decay is actually very small. The beauty of LEAPs is you have some instrument, you have some asset that moves just like a stock, low decay and high capital efficiency. There's literally nothing else that you can even hope for. It's just high amounts of returns for low amounts of money. This is the best of both worlds. Of course, it is a double-edged sword. So if the market moves very favorably, you're going to be making all sorts and all kinds of money, like literally all sorts. You're going to need a wheelbarrow. You're going to have a wheelbarrow of cash. If it goes down, we will talk about that in the live example. I'm going to show you how to manage the strategy also. But again, just understand the contract moves almost dollar for dollar due to Delta. Because Delta is high, Delta explains how an option behaves. 80 Delta, the option is going to be behaving very much in tandem with the stock. The stock moves up the dollar, option is going to move up 80 cents. So you get stock-like behavior without paying the full stock price. High delta also gives you stability and predictability in the movement. So in the example I'm about to show you from today's live plays that I'm looking at, you will see and you'll understand how I capture the best strike price, how I kind of lock in and find a setup and the price that I'm willing to pay. As well, we'll show you some of the returns that you can make, the expected return, because of course, I can't predict the future. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to show you the expected return if, say, the stock moves up $5. And the plays that I'm going to be looking at are very interesting because I've done quite a bit of research today. I think you're really going to enjoy the plays that I have because they're going to save you a lot of money. And you probably already have some of these stocks if you've been following my channel. I personally love deep in the money LEAPs for one simple reason: long-term upside with smart leverage. A deep in the money option has high delta, meaning that it's going to mirror the stock. So it's going to save you a lot of money. Use LEAPs to grow your portfolio and make bets on bullish stocks. Why not benefit with lower upfront capital requirements? Like, look, because LEAPs have built-in leverage in a 1 year, your risk management is way better off. Your ROI is also greater per dollar invested. And a deep in the money LEAP might only cost 70 to 85% less than buying 100 shares. So this strategy is good to use on Nvidia, on Tesla, on Meta, on SoFi, on Palantir, and all the other stocks that I have in my portfolio. I have a lot of these stocks. LEAPs are good on all of them, especially if you want to make your capital more efficient. Most people can't scale because they simply just can't pay attention enough to learn a powerful strategy. I'm going to be revealing the game-changing info for you. So try this. Next time that you buy 100 shares of stock, instead, just buy one call option with at least 70 delta that is 1 year to expiry. If your goal is to make money, if a stock rises, just replace it with a deep in the money call option, and that call option will basically give you the same benefit as a stock, but now you can have more positions in your portfolio, more diversifying. And diversification is obviously super important. I remember when I first was scaling my portfolio massively, and I first learned about LEAPs and how to actually use them and how to take advantage of them, it completely changed my game. I was dumping so much money into random stocks, trying to, ride momentum. One of them was Tesla, okay, which I made it big on Tesla. But just because I was right on Tesla didn't make my portfolio go from $100,000 to $700,000 in 2021. What actually did was me dumping just $5,000 into Tesla and that position becoming $20,000 in a matter of weeks. When I had seen those results, I was like, why? Why was I buying stock? A stock can't turn 5K into, a lot more multiples. It's not going to happen. And it's definitely not going to happen in a matter of weeks. So the type of return that I saw from a leap option was only because of leverage. In 2021, I used leverage to get a return that took my portfolio literally from 100 to 700. And without leaps, I would not be able to do that. Without buying options, I would not be able to do that. There is a place and time to buy options and to do it profitably. I'm going to be showing you an example, obviously, but I just wanted to point out, but this story is something that is replicatable by even a beginner. It's just a matter of picking the right stock and entering into the right position. This was back in 2021. And when I saw what I finally gained, made me really realize that wealth is a lot closer than we think. It's not overnight. It's not, in just in 1 week or 1 month. Obviously, you can't dump, 5K. I turned my leap option on Tesla went from 5,000 to it was like $19,700 or $800. I don't remember because it was back in 2021, but it was this crazy massive return between 19 to 20K. And obviously, I did not dump my entire portfolio there. Right? Had I dumped, I just wouldn't have the balls. I just literally, my balls are not big enough to put in 50K at a time. I wouldn't be able to. And that's because that wouldn't be proper risk management, position sizing. And at that time, I was still learning, to me, how risky I could be. How much was I willing to invest? For me, 5K was still a pretty big investment, but it ended up paying off huge. So if you want to grow your wealth quicker and be part of a bull market, which we're in a bull market, baby. We're in a very good market. I know sometimes the market goes down and we all feel down because it goes down a couple percentage points, but we're on one huge bull market since 2008. The market just continues to go up with some pullbacks. That's fine. Pullbacks are healthy. So we're not here hoping that the market's going to do good. It's basically the rule. The market just does good. So because the market just does good, buy leap options on high quality stocks and position yourself for massive gains by choosing the right stocks, the right leap option, the right expiration date, the right strike. Yeah, I know it made it sound all easy, but I'm going to show you some examples that you can probably print money from. Not for sure, right? Because in the market, you never know. If the market pulls back, you can lose some money. But if you have several leap options and we continue to be in a bullish market where the stocks that I'm going to show you, I believe are going to keep going up. It's like steroids for your portfolio. It's like getting massive gains while putting up very little amounts of capital and taking on less dollar risk and literally diversifying yourself better. So you're taking on smart risk. And this is basically how you scale your portfolio. So let's not waste any more time. Now you understand everything. Let's go into my live examples. All right, guys, let's get into the first trade that I want to make, which is AMD. I'm going to go over the technical analysis of AMD as well. Before I jump in, this is the last time that I'm going to be mentioning the Leaps challenge that I have starting in just a few days. I'm going to be going back in time, basically, and doing what I did in 2021, where I got this massive result. Now, of course, this is going to be a huge kind of feat of effort for me to do, but I'm going to do my very best attempt at doing about 24 trades with the size of 1K to 3K with defined risk, minimal management, and I'm going to be looking to get some really good results with leaps. So I can't say the full details on YouTube. It is, just check it out. It's the first link in the description. You can see all the details, and I have a video here as well, so you can see exactly what I'm going to be doing in my Leaps challenge. I'm going to be putting a lot of work into it. You'll be getting a lot of access to my voice notes, my ideas, and other free gifts. So go ahead and check this out. First link in the description. All right, so the first stock I want to look at doing a Leap option on is going to be AMD. I'm just going to look at the technicals here on AMD. I actually traded AMD back in my community when it was about $100 per share, so around these levels. Actually, even earlier than that, yeah, in the low hundreds, like 105 per share, and now it has gone up to 210. So I've essentially gotten 100% return there on the stock. Now, I didn't hold the stock to that period. I did do some leap options, and I cut them out here. Ended up missing some of these gains. You know, I couldn't predict that it would go this high, and I'm not a genie, so I couldn't do that anyways, but that's fine. I did a good job. I'm not going to beat myself up for missing some of this. The return that I got was absolutely insane. Now, given that AMD has fallen lower, I think that this is going to be one of the best leap option plays. I'm going to go to leap. I'm going to go to trade AMD options. And again, I think AMD is one of the most undervalued AI winners that's going to happen in 2026, because for years, investors viewed AMD as NVIDIA's distant runner-up. But it's really not. They're really going to be a force to be reckoned with. AMD is entering a multi-year hyper-growth cycle powered by AI data centers, next-gen Instinct GPUs, and a massive wave of inference spending. And 2026 is positioning to be the first explosive year of this transition. So I'm very bullish on it. So I'm going to go to buy call option, and I'm going to go for a leap option. It's going to expire in September of 2026.
Yes.
That's not exactly like a leap, but it's close enough, right? Like we don't have to get definitions right. We're just trying to make a bunch of money, right? And the whole point of the leap is that we get access to AMD's upside without having to pay full price for the stock. And again, AMD doesn't need to beat NVIDIA. Just capturing 10% of a $1 trillion market is enough to scale and grow their valuation. Keep in mind, please, it's really interesting. A 21 times earnings multiple is what the stock is basically being valued at in 2027 earnings. So in 2030, if they can make $20 per share in earnings, then their new valuation is going to be pretty big. Like I'm pretty sure this is going to be over $500 billion market cap, like a lot sooner than most people think. And it's going to be headed towards a $1 trillion valuation. For me, I think $500 billion can happen in 2026, which would actually push the stock price to $306. So that's pretty much where I believe like AMD is going to be. It's going to be a $306 stock. So at a $306 per share basis, that's basically what I'm looking at the stock doing in 2026, which is a very big run up. So looking at a leap option, I'm going to open up here 180, and we're going to take a look that this is around the sweet spot delta that I like. So I mentioned going for around a 70 delta. 70 delta is just the most realistic, simple delta to go for, because every dollar move is 70-cent move on the option. We don't need to go too heavy. Like for example, if we go to 125 here, yeah, it's a 90 delta, but now you're paying like half of the cost of whatever the stock is trading at, right? 97 bucks. That's going to be very expensive. Instead here, like I'm looking at this, which is going to be 1/4 of the price, right? So I'm literally saving 75%. Like literally that's the savings rate, 75% versus buying, an option that's a lot deeper, right? So just because it's a deeper in the money option doesn't mean it's always better, right? So this is the sweet spot, 70 delta. Implied volatility is actually really high at 55. That's great. Bid-ask spread is good. I mean, the market is closed right now, so once the market opens up, I'll be making this trade. But yeah, check it out. We're going to be paying $5,800, and we have the 180 call option, and our break even is 237, which is really not that high. Like AMD can easily, like, oh man, I'm very bullish on this position. AMD can easily be at this price within even like 3 months. Again, they have explosive data center growth. So management actually expects 60% average annual growth in data center revenue for the next 3 to 5 years. Of course, our leap options like in about a year, but this is going to be starting to get priced into AMD a lot sooner than we think, than investors think. So AMD is closing the gap between NVIDIA. The MI450 series is a major leap forward, narrowing the performance delta that NVIDIA has enjoyed for many years. Finally, AMD is going to be making a lot more cash. So, this leap option right here, 180, I'm going to be executing. And this is one of the smartest plays that I have that is going to help your portfolio grow if AMD goes up. So if AMD reaches 250 per share in the next 6 months, you can even close this option and take profit on it a lot sooner. You don't have to hold a leap option until expiry. Like you really don't. So many people are like, well, if it goes to 250, yeah, I'll make some money. I'll be $13 in the money, right? Well, beyond my break even. But that's not really enough. Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, it's a good return. It's going to be that's going to be like what, 13 divided by 58 will be around like 20-something% return. But the thing is, if you cut this position a lot sooner, then you're not only going to have it be in the money by a lot, you're also going to have a lot of time value left, right? So if AMD is at 50, you'll have at least $70 of in the money value, right? Because 250 minus the strike price of 180 is 70, right? But then you'll still have like half of the time value, right? And what is the time value right now? Well, you can pretty much tell that this right here, the break even, the difference between the break even and the current stock price is how much like value is on this option. So this is 210 and this is 238. Then basically it's 28 bucks of time value. You're gonna have at least like 15 bucks of that in like 6 months, at the very least, right? It's a ballpark estimate. We can't say the exact number because it'll vary and depend on many factors. But what I'm trying to get at is it's gonna be like 70 bucks plus 15. This option will be worth about 95 bucks or so. So from 58 to 95, if AMD is at 250, which I think is, in my opinion, like a pretty high chance. It's hard to say the exact chance, but a pretty high chance, okay? So anyways, this is a really smart leap option play. Let's go into our second trade. If you have any questions, by the way, comment down below. I know there's a lot of spammers in the comment section. There's a lot of impersonators. There's a lot of fake accounts. Unfortunately, I'm doing my very, very best to delete those, but oftentimes there is a lot of fake comments. So please be careful. I'm doing my very best. I have a assistant helping me with that. But okay, so let's go into our second stock, which is going to be Netflix. So Netflix is down pretty bad, actually. The stock is down 17% in the last 1 month. And on a technical angle, I think that this stock is oversold. Like if we look at the chart, it is oversold, which is a good opportunity to buy a leap option. Yeah, here you can see the RSI is like around 30. We're at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. Like guys, right here, I'm finding basically the best stock value that I possibly can give for, on YouTube. Like I'm trying to get you guys wealthier so you can look into, my coaching. I want to get you results. So then you're like, hey, Henry is the best coach. He's been around the longest. This guy has experience. I trust this guy that I want to work with him. I'm trying to show you a stock that just sold off. Like literally Netflix is down. And going into 2026, I still think they're going to do well because they're getting into live events, gaming. They actually have a surging advertising business, which I'm very bullish on. Netflix is one of the strongest risk-adjusted growth stories in the entire mega cap space, and Wall Street is still, pricing it under that level, in my opinion. The advertising tier alone could literally turn Netflix into a free cash flow monster for the next 24 months. So the stock being sold off and under $100 per share, I think is a huge opportunity, especially because, again, ads have a massive opportunity for Netflix. They have massive margins. Advertising revenue is almost pure profit compared to streaming subscriptions. No expensive content needed to add an ad slot, right? Ads is just super powerful, and Netflix is going to make a lot of money there. The ad tier is growing triple digits, actually. So Netflix reported 300% year-over-year growth in ad tier subscribers in multiple markets. The base is still small, but the growth runway is very huge. And high growth plus high margins is basically equal to a free cash flow monster, guys. Like this thing is going to be a free cash flow monster. So I'm looking at Netflix. Let's look at Netflix leap option and take a look here at a good leap to purchase. Again, I'm going to go for around a 70 delta. It's really as easy as that. 70 delta is the sweet spot. Let's go to trade Netflix options. And again, because the ad revenue tier is going to take some time, maybe for this option, we can go for January of 2027. And right here, I'm going to go down to their value of, let's go for 9. Let's see what's up here. It's a little short. Let's go for 87 strike. So yeah, about 70 delta. Cool. So the implied volatility is lower. So this is definitely going to be a little bit more, not as expensive to buy. When implied volatility is actually lower, that's not a bad thing per se if you're an option buyer. So remember, a leap strategy is a bullish strategy that helps you replace stock. A leap strategy allows you to essentially own the rights to 100 shares without having to pay the full price of 100 shares. So here, when the implied volatility is lower, that's pretty much a good thing because it's going to be cheaper to purchase a leap call option on the underlying stock, which is Netflix. So by purchasing this right here, we're going to have to pay $2,200, but then we get the right to basically have 100 shares of Netflix. So as it goes up, this option right here is going to have very similar behavior. It's going to increase in value much quicker than you would holding the regular stock. So again, if we move back just simply to the moving average here, we bridge the gap to 104, right? Which is like a $10-ish move or a $9 move. Then what's going to happen, okay, going back here, a $9 move multiplied by delta 0.7 is going to be $6 in change on the option. $6 is pretty much higher than a quarter of the premium. So you're going to be making more than a quarter, aka it's like a 25-ish% or more gain that could be made on this leap option in a pretty short amount of time. Honestly, whenever I make like 25 to 30% in like 1 month, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing in this challenge. Like whenever I make a fast gain, I will be cutting the position. Like I will be telling people and holding myself accountable to scaling the portfolio as fast as possible. I'm not going to be holding this option until expiry. Like that doesn't always need to happen. Like literally in 1 month, if I made 30% and it hits my exit rule criteria, I'll exit the leap trade. Like that's it. Simple as that. So we can exit this leap trade at a 25 to 30% gain if Netflix literally just breaches this gap. And again, I think that's going to happen, and it can happen because the stock is already so sold off. I am super bullish long-term on ad tech because it's scaling so fast. Netflix also partnered with Microsoft initially but it's rapidly building in-house ad tech, improving targeting, rolling out measurement tools that advertisers require, and this enables higher CPMs, which is more inventory sold and better margins. So a leading indicator for me is that Netflix just has time dominance. Netflix is number one platform for global viewing time, even against YouTube. So right now, just yeah, like I think it's silly not to bet on Netflix to some extent, right? To have some of the stock in your portfolio, and the leap option is the perfect way. I'm gonna have more analysis on Netflix within my leap challenge that is getting underway. So far, the members that have joined the group, and I have already started sending messages there. My next message is going to be on Netflix, so make sure that you see what I think about Netflix, the exact strike prices that I plan to do, reasons why I want to trade Netflix further with leap options. And let's wrap up this video with a little bit more insight into more leap techniques and how to manage the leap option. You already know that you need to learn leaps. So once you understand why deep in the money framework that I'm teaching you is so powerful, then you're probably just going to be able to replace your shares in a very smart way. And so you're probably not going to be buying lots of 100 shares going forward. And that's cool, but don't get too caught up in this strategy because you still need proper position sizing. Some of the worst mistakes I see is students only using leap options in their portfolio. Nope, you still want to have other strategies. Maybe it's the wheel strategy, it's selling puts, covered calls. All that's really good. All those videos I have in my playlist or in my free course that I have here on YouTube. But still, leaps, very strong. But if you're a beginner, you have a small portfolio, you can go 50% in leaps, right? But as you scale and as you have a bigger portfolio, it should only be about like 20% or so of your portfolio. Other mistakes that I see, like core steps that people kind of get wrong, is really just picking the wrong stock. If you pick the wrong stock, it doesn't matter. All my wheel strategy, all my leaps videos, all the content that I'm making for you is useless. If you don't pick the right stock, it's game over, right? Which is why, thankfully, I gave you some examples in this video, right? Also, wrong delta. So some people buy a leap option at like a 10 delta. Dude, if you bought it at a 10 delta, you will understand, right? There's a 10% chance of that option expiring in the money, right? Yeah, it's cheap, but it's cheap for a reason. It's like some old pizza for a discount. Like, you don't want to eat that. You're going to get sick. So picking the wrong delta, no good. Wrong expiration. So sometimes people get confused. Like, oh, this leap's deep in the money. I'm going to buy it and it expires in 2 weeks. I'm like, it expires in 2 weeks. That's not what a leap is. So just really follow the rules that I kind of gave you in this video. Very, very important. And I always tell people that leaps are a great way to replace stocks. The whole playbook is buy a high delta leap. And this is what I call delta deception breaker. Just break all the rules, have a high delta, get exposure. That's it. Because once you see how the strategy works, you're never going to really look at buying shares again, especially if you're in the scaling stages of your portfolio, which you probably are. Because if you're watching this video right now, you're probably a beginner. You're learning a lot from me. I've been at this for over a decade. I've taught this stuff to over 2,000 people. A lot of the other YouTube coaches on the platform have been through my program. I've had some students. Ryan has been through my program. Ashley's been through my program. I have students that have been through my program that now teach on YouTube. So I'm telling you, I've been doing this for a very long time. If you really want to understand how to scale your portfolio, and if you're a beginner, that's where you are right now, use leaps, but use them in a smart way. Don't have more than 50% of your portfolio in leaps if you have a small portfolio. If you have a medium portfolio, don't have more than 30% of your money in leaps. If you have a bigger portfolio, you're at 6 figures, then do 20% or even less. If you have a 6-figure portfolio, what are you doing? You should be booking a call and learning more about my coaching program so I can show you how to scale to multiple 6 figures and 7 figures and give you a massive shortcut and help you and kind of guide you through this journey. Imagine 90 days from now, you're positioned in the right stocks with the leap strategy, where that leap strategy gives you massive returns, helps your capital very efficiently scales your portfolio to a level where you can take some of that money and start putting it in other strategies, such as the wheel strategy that I teach about, and then having your portfolio generate enough money for you to not need to work. The leap strategy is a really core component of growing your wealth. So if you want to grow your wealth faster, then click the first link in the description. I'd be more than happy to help you. Hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.
Hi, my name is Juan Carlos Flores. To live into Peru. I do not speak English. My English is so en español. Aquí damos información financiera. Acá en español significa el canal Invierte con Henry. La información básicamente son fines de entretenimiento. Si quieres invertir, tienes que invertirlo con un profesional y él te va a dar las recomendaciones, porque a veces no se hacen responsables de las pérdidas. Entonces acá el tema es compra estos dos LIP antes de 2026. Gran oportunidad ahora mismo. Bueno, tengan cuidado porque a veces son muchos negocios, inversiones que a veces no llega hasta generar ingresos. Bueno, hasta la próxima. Gracias por seguirme aquí.